mean, statutorily, to access the rainy day fund requires a legislative amendment, but we have, I mean, as I indicated before, in the regular appropriation authority of the governor, both in the National Guard's dollars, into SEMA match dollars, and in emergency response funds, they put an estimated on the end of those expenditures just for situations like this, so that on the front end of all of these, we would have the dollars. And that's why, as I moved my budget forward, I moved $50 million of that FY12 budget into those lines, so that we would have that money reserved and are paying it out as we speak on a number of things, whether it's the match for debris removal down in Joplin, or the design work for a new temporary levee that we hope to get done down at Bird's Point, so we can get that 138,000 acres back into production. All of those are contained, but it would require, obviously, to dip into that discretionary fund. The rainy day fund would require legislative act. That also triggers a payback. And like I said, we manage money, we manage it well. That's why we got a AAA rating. That's why we watch it very carefully. And we will do what is most prudent for us. But I do think that as you look at, as we're just having housing units moved into Joplin yesterday and today, as we're just looking at design work on some temporary housing units there, as we're just moving forward on the hiring of folks down there, as we're finalizing some issues involving the schools, as we're finalizing some issues involving the rebuild of the Mercy Hospital down there, there's a huge number of, I had a good discussion with all of this with Secretary Napolitano next week. But the bottom line is that we will handle this professionally. We will be transparent about what we do, and if we need to access that resource, we'll communicate with the legislature to do it.
Do you foresee special session meetings?
We'll watch, and if it's necessary, we'll look at it. At this particular point, until we have, we're certainly not to that point yet. I've said all along the special sessions there has to be significant need, complete consensus, so that you didn't just bring people back to talk about things. You brought people back to do things. And I think until we get all of the numbers, at least on the emergency side, and especially with the water rising the way it is today. I mean, they moved to 150,000 cubic feet per second out of Gavin's Point today, which is the lowest reservoir down towards Missouri. To put that in context, the 1993 flood at Gavin's, they were only releasing 70,000 cubic feet per second. So, I mean, you're twice as much water being released. Now, the baseline here is a little lower because it's not raining as much, and the sideways tributaries aren't as much, but we may have additional challenges there. Had 2 levees burst in the last 24 hours up there, one federal levee and a state levee. We're evacuating people from Big Lake State Park once again because of the water rising. There is some rain forecasted. So we have a lot of issues to get done. And plus, I mean, I got to get done with bill review from the session we've had with that before. But anyway, anybody else?
One of the things that you mentioned is the recovery of the hospital in Joplin. One thing lawmakers have talked about is streamlining the certificate of need process to maybe so they wouldn't have to purchase equipment that way. Would that be something you support?
Well, I mean, I've met countless times. In fact, I spoke to all their employees on Sunday. We shouldn't use situations like this to fundamentally shift what our regulatory and responsibility structures are. So, heck, I mean, we got an MRI and a CAT scan into a tent next door to that building 6 days after the tornado hit. That's about as quick as you're going to do anything, and it didn't require passing a whole bunch of laws to get that done. Mm-hmm. I think that the focus here should be on what we can do to help the people of Joplin rebuild their economy, their schools, and their healthcare structure, and get a housing base that's back to it. So there may be things like that, and I would anticipate that there'll be some things like that. On the healthcare side, in my discussions with the leaders of both healthcare institutions, I've met both with Freeman at length as well as St. John's at length. They're not asking for significant changes in the law. They're asking us to continue to assist them to move forward quickly to rebuild. Thank you all very much.